So after quite a few requests, I am finally going to be doing a long-term update on the 850 MyTrailCo down jacket. So to start, I wanted to kind of go through how this fit me. Obviously, clothing can be very subjective to your body type, how tall you are, and all those things. I'm about 6 foot tall. I would say relatively average shoulder width and all of that. A lot of people were asking questions about the hood as well. This is the hooded version of it. So at a really good price point, I decided to pull the trigger on this jacket. I thought it was for an 850 jacket. 850 down jacket, a really good option for the price, the value, and weight, and all those things. I'll post a link in the description and also the specifications on them. But I'm about 6 foot tall. This jacket, I noticed, kind of immediately comes down a little bit short, almost kind of like a parka almost. It fit in the large size, but it fit really well for me and my arm length. I don't know exactly the dimensions on that specifically, but for a 6 foot tall male, that seems about right. That was good enough for me. I noticed that immediately some of the questions that I had too were about the hood. It's not actually like drawstrung together. It's just got this elastic kind of piece that folds over the hood. I think it fits really well. I wanted a hooded jacket, but I didn't want to pay the price of some of the other ones, so I thought maybe this would be something to note for anyone who's looking at this jacket. It doesn't have an adjustable hood. However, it does have an adjustable bottom piece to it, kind of to the actual around your torso. I feel like for me though, it fits a little bit lower than my hips. So like I said, it's a little bit longer, but that's not necessarily a problem. Not for me at least, but something to note if you can't stand, or maybe you're wearing like some sort of fanny pack or some sort of attachment around the belt that can kind of get in the way. I did notice that around my hip belts, that did kind of bunch up sometimes, but again, it's a little bit longer, and I like I said, didn't bother me too much, but something to note if you're looking at this jacket. So at the time of this filming, I probably have had this for almost a year. I've done, I don't know, maybe 10, 15, 20 nights using this jacket pretty much throughout at least the Midwest in the United States, some of the winter months. This has done really well. I don't doubt that this has an 850 down fill power or anything like that. It seems to be on par with some of the other jackets that I have or have tried on or used in this kind of category. A lot of people were asking about durability on this company, and that was kind of my biggest concern. I know the price point was very good, but I did want to point out some of the flaws that I had or issues that I had with this one specifically, and stuff that I'm actually kind of worried about in the future too. And I know I'm wearing a black jacket, trying to show you a black jacket, but there have been a couple of and some down loss, nothing crazy, but there's been a couple spots, at least in the shoulders, where I've seen, I don't know if you can actually see this on camera, but there's some fraying of the actual stitching in it. It doesn't look like it's come out yet or really undone the actual parts where like there's gonna be a lot of movement, especially in the shoulders and stuff like that. A little bit of down has come out like I kind of expected a little bit. I almost feel like the stitching could have been a little bit tighter together, or it could have been a thicker gauge, but with the type of material ripstop this is, maybe that wasn't an option. So I am seeing, like I said, a little bit of wear and tear. It's held up very well, but there are some of these issues that I've kind of been looking at as problematic in the future. I don't know how long these are going to hold up, or if these baffles are going to lose or give at some point. I can always fix them, but it seems like there's nothing that's actually gone through yet. It seems like they're pretty good, but for about the first, like I said, the first maybe 10, 15, 20 nights, I started seeing a little bit of down come out into my tent, on my sleeping pad, stuff like that, but it does overall seem pretty good. I've noticed that this fits pretty well, especially sleeping in. It's nothing too tight. I think these fit a little bit larger than the normal jackets you'd find from like Patagonia or Outdoor Research. They're just a little bit broader shouldered, so I think that helps kind of alleviate, if you're someone a little bit smaller, that you're not going to be like kind of bending over and stretching out the shoulders or anything like that. So I didn't really notice anything other than that. The elasticity seems to hold up pretty well, and so far I've had pretty good luck with it. I'm actually pretty happy about this. I thought this was going to be a little lower quality than it actually ended up being, so just wanted to kind of see if that was something that maybe you're a little bit larger person than me, and this may become problematic in the future. But I have noticed, and there's actually a little bit of, you can see it's a little bit thinner down loss than on the other baffles that I had on the side. So I know that it's lofting at the bottom here, but just something to note. So I've got it now packed up in its pocket that you can actually fold itself into and kind of compact it. There's just a zipper here that kind of folds in on the bottom left side of the jacket. You can pack it in. This material is very, very nice to touch in terms of the inside of the jacket, the way it feels. It does have a really smooth texture to it, but I have run into some problems with its durability. Now, I can't say that I love the width of this pack size, of how this folds into its storable pocket, but it's a little bit long, I feel like. It packs really well, though. I don't have any issues with that. The ripstop material they use is pretty nice, but you can kind of see here, I've run into, just because of how smooth it is, just some tears. I would generally pack this on the top or underneath my food bag on the AT, and I don't know how this happened, but something had either maybe me packing it in or like putting it in my pack, it started to form a little bit of a tear on here. Something I kind of just realized recently I'm gonna have to fix to not have this completely spread apart. But so that you could get a good view of how it packs together, I just kind of crudely jammed this into its pocket here. But it is a little bit long. I'd say it's about a foot, maybe a foot and an inch, something like that in width. Not very thick, but something to note if you're looking at storing this thing or using this very frequently. I would be pretty careful or mindful of how you pack it, just because of this material being kind of fragile. It seems like, to me at least. But overall, it packs really well. You can even not pack it in its pocket and just kind of slam it in the pack that you have and ready to go. And that's what I did some days. Just once I figured this out, I kind of stopped using this its compactable storing pocket that it uses. So something to note again on just the way that this thing packs together if you're going to be using this as your main jacket out on trail. So after using this now for quite a bit of trail time, I'm really impressed with it still. MyTrailCo is definitely an option. I mean, at least just for the money, something that I could recommend to almost anybody who's looking at a pretty lightweight jacket that has an 850 down fill power. It's been with me for a while now, so now that I have some time on it, I was a little skeptical at first with the durability over time and the stitching, but gosh, I mean, it's held up very, very well. I know in the future this will be a problem. I can tell some of the stitching is coming apart, fraying. It is starting to at the stress points with like the inside of the shoulder, but overall for a hooded jacket, like I said, I'll link this in the description here, but for the price that this is, I don't know that I can find another one that's really that competitive, another company or brand that I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but the one that I've at least seen and had some trail use on was recommended this by a buddy of mine, but I didn't know how good it was going to be. There's a lot of options out there for jackets. It's a very big segment, and there's so many subjective reviews on them. But for a hooded jacket, then they sell a non-hooded version too, if that's not your style. This seems like a really good option, and for the money, I just can't get over how good it is for the small amount of cash that it starts with to actually have your own. So I'll post some of the specs in the description. I do have a video on it. I think I'm going to link it in the end cards here for you guys to check out. I've got a little bit more detailed specifications when I first got the jacket. But thank you so much for watching. I hope this answers some questions for you about this jacket. If you have any questions or comments that you want me to kind of explain or go into, please leave a comment in the box below, and I will get to them as soon as I can. Thank you.